A millionaire sees his childhood love begging with two 3-year-old twin children and recognizes her. But what he does next is amazing. Before we begin the story, please tell us which place you're watching from in the comments below. Have fun with the story, everyone! Logan Bennett, a heartless millionaire, was crossing a busy street corner when something caught his attention. A woman dressed in dirty worn clothes with disheveled hair was sitting on the ground. Her face looked tired and showed signs of pain. Next to her, two little girls who were twins, around 4 years old, were wearing old worn-out clothes. One of them was softly crying and wiping her eyes with her small, dirty hands. "Sweetheart, it's okay, someone will help us soon." The woman softly spoke, gently touching the child's hair, her voice shaking with deep love. Logan felt a pang in his chest. He knew that face, even through the dirt and pain. It seemed impossible, but it was Olivia Carter, the girl he had loved in his youth and admired from a distance. She had never noticed him in school, except to mock his awkward efforts to get her attention. Now she was here, weak and helpless. Logan approached slowly, his heart racing. "Olivia." He called hesitantly. The woman slowly lifted her head, her eyes widening as she recognized the voice, Logan. For a moment neither of them spoke. The quiet between them was heavy with painful memories. Then Olivia lowered her eyes as if wishing to disappear. "What happened to you?" he asked. Unable to hide his worry, Olivia looked away, clutching the girls even tighter. "It doesn't matter, we're fine. Go away, Logan." But Logan couldn't ignore what he saw. One of the girls was crying from hunger, while the other clung to her mother's arm, staring at him with wide, frightened eyes. The pain and hopelessness of the scene hit him like a blow. "You're not fine. Come with me, I'll help you." "No, I can't." Olivia began to protest. "I'm not leaving you and your girls out here in the cold. You're coming with me and I won't take no for an answer." The girls looked at him, curious yet careful. The one who had been crying pressed her lips together, holding back her tears. Olivia hesitated, but Logan's determined gaze made her relent. She knew she had no other choice. Logan pulled out his phone and called his driver. "Be here in 5 minutes, he said before putting the phone away. "Leighton, go, there's no reason for you to stay here." He offered his hand to Olivia, who reluctantly took it. When the car arrived, Logan helped Olivia get in, carrying one of the girls while she held the other. The children were tired, their faces resting on their mother's shoulders during the ride to Logan's mansion. The silence was oppressive. Olivia stared out the window, lost in thought. Logan glanced at her occasionally, trying to understand how her life had fallen apart. When they arrived, Olivia looked clearly uncomfortable. The grand mansion with its warm lights and immaculate garden scene seemed like another world. "You don't have to do this, Logan. We can no more arguing, Olivia. You'll come inside, eat something and rest." The housekeeper, Mrs. Harper, opened the door with a surprised look but said nothing. Logan told her to prepare a room for Olivia and the girls. While Mrs. Harper took care of that, Logan brought Olivia and the children to the living room. He lit the fireplace, making a cozy warmth, and asked for food to be prepared for them. "Thank you, Logan, really thank you," Olivia said, her eyes filled with tears as the girls curled up on the sofa beside her. Logan nodded, his mind whirling. He knew that this night was just the beginning. Tomorrow, he needed to understand what had truly happened to Olivia and how she had ended up here. The sun was just starting to peek through the windows of Logan's mansion, but Olivia was already awake, sitting on the edge of the bed. She watched her twins, Harper and Hazel, who were still sleeping deeply. For the first time in a long time, her girls were warm and comfortable. That should have eased her heart, but instead she felt an increasing knot in her throat across the mansion. Logan was also awake, sitting in his office, thinking about everything he had seen the night before. The image of Olivia on the sidewalk holding her children wouldn't leave his thoughts. He needed to understand how this had happened. After all, the Olivia he had known in school had been bold, full of life, someone who seemed destined for great things. Shortly after, the maid knocked gently on Olivia's door. "Miss Carter, breakfast is ready. Mr. Bennett would like you and the girls to come down." Olivia thanked him and woke the twins. A few minutes later they went downstairs together to the dining room where a large breakfast spread awaited them. The girls ran excitedly to the chairs, delighted by the range of fruits, breads, and juices. Olivia, however, paused. "Please have a seat," Logan said, appearing in the doorway. He was wearing a crisp white dress shirt and looked relaxed, though his eyes showed a serious undertone. "Thank you," Olivia responded, pulling out a chair. While watching Harper and Hazel eat excitedly during the meal, an awkward silence lingered between Logan and Olivia. He knew he needed to move carefully, but he was determined to understand the truth. When the girls finished eating, the maid took them to play in a nearby room. Olivia stayed seated, now alone with Logan. He rested his arms on the table and looked her straight in the eye. "Olivia, we need to talk. I want to understand what happened to you." She averted her look, clasping her hands in her lap. "It's not a story I like to tell. I'm not here to judge, I just want to help." Logan paused, picking his words carefully. "When I saw you yesterday, you and your girls were in a situation that well. It doesn't happen overnight. What happened, Olivia?" She took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a moment before starting to speak. "After we finished high school, I started dating Jake Miller. You remember him, don't you? He was the most famous guy in school." Logan nodded, his jaw tightening at the mention of the name. He remembered Jake all too well, someone everyone respected, yet who wouldn't hesitate to hurt others to get what he wanted. "Jake and I started dating right after prom. I was in love and thought he felt the same. A few months later, I found out I was pregnant. When I told him, I thought we'd face it together, but he abandoned me. He said he wasn't ready to be a father and didn't want the duty. That was the last time I saw him." Logan clenched his fists on the table, struggling to control the anger welling up inside him. "He just left you?" Olivia nodded, her eyes filled with tears. "Yes, I was alone, with no help. My parents couldn't help much, and I did what I could to provide for the girls, but it wasn't enough. I finally lost my job and, over time, the bills piled up. When Harper and Hazel were 2 years old, we were evicted from our apartment. Since then, we've been living on the streets, depending on the kindness of strangers." Logan sat in silence, processing everything he just heard. The Olivia he had once known was strong, but life had broken her in ways he never imagined. "Why didn't you ever ask for help?" he finally asked his voice quieter. "Now I was ashamed," Olivia admitted, "ashamed of how my life had fallen apart. I didn't want anyone to see me like this, especially someone like you." Logan took a deep breath, feeling a mix of kindness and sadness. "Olivia, no one deserves to go through this. You're not alone anymore. I'll help you and your girls get back on your feet." "Why, Logan? Why are you doing all this?" He paused but knew he had to be honest because, despite everything, "I care about you. I've always cared." Olivia sat in silence, unable to reply. Logan's words echoed in her mind as she tried to understand everything that was happening. That night, as Olivia tucked the girls into bed, she reflected on what Logan had said. For the first time in years, she felt a spark of hope, but she also knew that taking help meant facing her deepest fears and rebuilding her life from scratch. The next morning, as sunlight poured through the mansion's large windows, Olivia woke to the soft laughter of Harper and Hazel playing on the ground beside the bed. For a moment she felt like she was dreaming. It was hard to believe that just 24 hours earlier she'd been sitting on a sidewalk, unsure where their next meal would come from. She stretched and called the girls to get ready. Fresh clothes had been set out in the room, carefully picked by the housekeeper. Olivia was struck by the care, though she still felt out of place in such a luxurious setting. When they went downstairs for breakfast, Logan was already in the living room reading some papers. He looked up when he heard the twins' footsteps and gave a faint smile. "Did you sleep well?" he asked. Harper nodded happily, while Hazel shyly held her mother's hand. "Yes, it was the best night we've had in a long time," Olivia responded, a touch of gratitude in her voice. "I'm glad to hear that Logan signaled for them to sit. You don't have to worry about anything today. I want you to rest. The girls can play in the yard or wherever they like." Olivia paused. "Logan, I don't know how to thank you for all of this, but I don't want to take advantage of your kindness. As soon as I can, I'll find a job," and Logan raised a hand stopping her. "There's no rush, Olivia. Before anything else, you need to heal. Don't worry about deadlines, we'll figure this out together." Despite his comforting words, Olivia still felt a weight on her chest. Accepting help didn't come easily to her, however. Her daughter's well-being came first, and for their sake she swallowed her pride. After breakfast, Harper and Hazel went to play in the yard under the housekeeper's supervision. Olivia, meanwhile, helped clear the dishes, feeling uneasy about not adding more. Logan found her in the kitchen, shaking his head as he saw her trying to wash the dishes. "Olivia, you don't have to do that. I need to do something, Logan. I don't feel right just taking everything without giving back." Logan sighed. "If that's how you feel, fine, but for now I want to talk about the girls. Do they have everything they need?" Olivia paused, thinking they need a few things like clothes and shoes. "What they have is old and worn." "Great, Leighton, go out and get what they need." Olivia's eyes widened. "That's not necessary, Logan. I can manage later." "No discussion," Logan said with a gentle smile. "I'll get the car." Half an hour later, Olivia, Harper, and Hazel were in a children's store downtown with Logan watching closely. The girls were thrilled, running between the racks and trying on new clothes. "Can I really get this?" Mommy Harper asked, holding a sparkling blue dress. Olivia's heart ached at the sight of her daughter's bright, hopeful eyes. "Yes, sweetheart, you can." Hazel, the more reserved twin, held up a pair of new boots. "Me too, Mommy." Olivia nodded with an emotional smile. "You too, my love." Logan watched quietly, pleased to see the girls so happy. After picking out clothes, shoes, and a few toys, he took them to a restaurant for lunch. During lunch, the twins chattered happily, sharing stories and playing with each other. Olivia watched them, feeling a sense of relief as she saw them smiling at last. "You've done so much for us today, Logan." "Thank you," Olivia said seriously. "I've only done what anyone should do." Logan replied casually, "You deserve this, Olive." I dropped her eyes, the shame creeping back. She knew Logan was being kind, but she couldn't help thinking how she had treated him in the past. "You're a much better person than I was to you, Logan," she muttered almost inaudibly. Logan frowned. "Olivia, the past is behind us. What matters now is what we do, going forward." She nodded, though the guilt still remained. When they returned to the house, the twins ran straight to the garden, showing off their new clothes. Olivia watched them from the living room window, a smile on her face. For the first time in years, she felt safe. Logan, standing beside her, broke the quiet. "They're incredible little girls. They're my strength to keep going, even in the worst moments. They gave me a reason to move forward." Logan looked at her with admiration. "You're stronger than you know, Olivia. To go through everything you have and still stand tall, that's something few people can do?" She sighed. "I don't know if it's strength or just stubbornness, but either way, thank you." Logan smiled. "If you ever need anything, you know you can count on me." Olivia nodded, finally feeling that she could trust someone besides herself. The next morning, Olivia woke up to the soft sunshine streaming through the curtains. Harper and Hazel were still fast asleep. Their faces relaxed, free from the problems they had carried on the streets. Olivia watched her daughters for a moment, feeling a mix of relief and hope. Maybe starting over was possible after all. After getting dressed, she went downstairs and found Logan in the kitchen drinking coffee and reading the newspaper. He looked up when he heard her footsteps and smiled. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Yes, thank you, and you like a rock," he replied, folding the newspaper and standing up. "I made coffee for you too. Have a seat." Olivia thanked him, feeling strangely at ease with the routine that was starting to form. As she sipped her coffee, Logan sat across from her and said, "I was thinking, now that the girls are more relaxed, we can start focusing on me." She asked, surprised. "Yes, you mentioned wanting to work again. What kind of job are you looking for?" Olivia stayed quiet for a moment, weighing her choices. "I don't have an academic background, so my options are limited, but I'm willing to do anything that allows me to support my daughters." Logan nodded. "That makes sense, but what if you could study, finish your schooling, and get a job that truly brings you fulfillment?" Her eyes widened. "Study, that's out of the question, Logan. I don't have the time or resources for that. You'd have both here. I can help with the expenses and make sure the girls are well cared for while you study." Olivia shook her head, incredulous. "You've already done so much for us. I can't accept anything more." Logan leaned forward, his face serious. "Olivia, this isn't just about you, it's about Harper and Hazel. If you have the chance to grow stronger, it'll help your daughters in the long run. Please think about it." Logan's words struck Olivia deeply. She knew he was right, but she still fought with her pride and shame. That evening, after putting the kids to bed, Logan asked Olivia to meet him in his office. He had something important to discuss. "Olivia, I have a plan for you." He began giving her a small envelope. She opened it to find information about business and entrepreneurship classes. "I want you to consider taking these courses. You're smart and determined, and I believe you have the potential to achieve great things. This will give you the tools to support yourself and create a better future for your daughters." Olivia looked at the papers, her mind racing to understand the offer. "Logan, this is too much. I'm not sure I can do it." "You're more capable than you think, and you don't have to decide right now. Just consider it." Olivia held the papers tightly, feeling torn between fear and hope. In the days that followed, Olivia began to reflect on Logan's proposal. Gradually, she realized this could be her chance to change her life and, most importantly, give her daughters the future they deserved. Finally, after much thought, she agreed. She enrolled in the courses and, with Logan's backing, began studying during the day, while the twins were cared for by the housekeeper. Although the beginning was difficult, Olivia felt reinvigorated as she learned new skills and rediscovered a side of herself. She thought she'd lost. Each day was a small win, and she clung to the idea that she was building something lasting. Logan closely followed her progress, giving encouragement and support whenever she needed it. He knew Olivia needed to believe in herself as much as he believed in her. Olivia, in turn, started to understand how important Logan had become in her life. His steady presence and unwavering support were slowly breaking down the barriers she had built over the years. Olivia's routine was changing quickly. In the mornings, while Harper and Hazel played in the yard, she spent hours studying in the office Logan had set up for her. At first, every page she read felt like climbing a peak, but over time she found her rhythm. Logan's steady and unwavering support inspired her even more. One afternoon, as Olivia reviewed her notes, Logan walked into the room with a serious look. She immediately sensed something was wrong. "We need to talk," he said, closing the door behind him. Olivia felt her stomach tighten. "What is it?" "I found someone from your past," Logan responded, sitting across from her. "Jake Miller." The name thundered in Olivia's thoughts. Jake, the man who had abandoned her when she needed him most, the father of her girls who had never acknowledged them. Olivia took a deep breath trying to control the wave of feelings. "What does he have to do with this?" she asked, her voice steadier than she expected. "I've been looking into some things. I wanted to understand better what happened to you. After school, I found Jake and chose to confront him." "You did what?" Olivia stood shocked. "I needed to know the truth about what he did to you and why he abandoned you and the girls." "Logan, you had no right to do that, maybe not, but I did it for you." Olivia stayed silent, her chest tight. She knew Logan meant well, but bringing Jake back into her life felt like reopening a wound that hadn't fully healed. "What did he say?" she finally asked, her voice. Unsure, Logan rested his elbows on the table inside. "He admitted everything. He said he knew you were pregnant but didn't want to take responsibility. He claimed it was easier to leave." Let's play a little game for those who only read the comments. Type pizza in the comments. Only those who make it this far will understand. Now let's get back to the story. Olivia felt her anger rise like a wave. She hadn't expected anything different from Jake, but hearing those words out loud still stung. "Did he say the girls?" she asked, her eyes brimming with tears. "No, he didn't even ask about them." Olivia clenched her hands, trying to hold back her tears. As much as she despised Jake, a part of her had always hoped that one day he would show remorse or at least some curiosity about the girls he had abandoned. Logan stood and put a hand on her shoulder. "Olivia, you don't have to face this alone. I'm here." She looked at him, trying to resist the urge to break down. "Thank you, Logan, but there are things I have to handle on my own." That night, after putting the girls to bed, Olivia sat at the kitchen table looking at a cup of tea that had gone cold. Logan's words echoed in her mind, and the thought of Jake remained like a shadow. She knew that to move forward, she had to face the past once and for all. In the days that followed, Olivia tried to resume her schedule, but she couldn't focus. Memories of Jake and the fight Logan had mentioned weighed on her like an anchor. Logan, noticing the change in her demeanor, decided to give her room, but watched her with concern. One morning, Olivia made a choice. She picked up the phone and called Jake. He answered after a few rings, his voice uninterested on the other end of the line. "Jake, it's Olivia, we need to talk." There was silence for a few seconds before he answered about what it's been so long. "It's about the girls. You've never wanted to know anything about them, but that needs to change, not for me, but for them." "Jake, sigh, Olivia, I've already made it clear I don't want to be part of this." "What do you want me to say?" "That I'm sorry because I'm not." Olivia's heart tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "So you'll never meet them, never take any blame." "I've moved on, Olivia. I think you should too." Before she could reply, the line went dead. She stood there holding the phone trying to process the emptiness left by that chat. It was the closure she needed, but also a harsh proof that Jake would never be part of her daughter's lives. When Logan arrived that evening, he found Olivia sitting on the couch with the twins asleep beside her. He sat down next to her, waiting silent for her to speak. "First I talked to Jake," she finally said, breaking the quiet. Logan frowned. "And how did it go?" "As I expected, he doesn't want anything to do with them, he feels nothing." Logan clenched his hands. His anger visible. "He doesn't know what he's missing." Olivia looked at her girls inside. "I didn't do it for him, I did it for the girls. I needed to be sure there was nothing left to expect from him." And now Logan asked, "Now I move on. I want the girls growing up under the shadow of a father who never cared." Logan nodded, praising the strength Olivia was showing. He knew she still carried the pain, but he could also see a renewed drive in her. The next morning, Logan shocked Olivia with a small gift, a notebook and an elegant pen. "What's this?" she asked, curious. "A tool for you to plan your future. I want you to write down your goals and what you need to achieve them. We'll work on it together." Olivia smiled, touched by the act. "Thank you, Logan. I don't know what I'd do without you. You do exactly what you're doing now, rebuilding. I'm just here to make sure you have every chance to succeed." With Logan's support, Olivia continued her studies, determined to build a better life for herself and her daughters. The fight with Jake had been painful, but it was also freeing. Now she knew she no longer had to look back. Days passed in an increasingly organized Olivia now focused entirely on her studies and raising the twins, while Logan stayed by her side, offering unwavering support. The relationship between the two got deeper and more natural, marked by shared understanding and small acts of care. One afternoon, as Olivia reviewed her notes in the living room, Logan walked in with a folder in hand and a strange smile. She looked at him interested. "What's that?" she asked, resting the notebook on her lap. "An opportunity." Logan responded, handing her the folder. Inside were papers and a preliminary contract. Olivia read the header, Project Assistant Bennett Enterprises. She frowned and looked at Logan confused. "Are you asking me to work for you?" "I'm not trying to pressure you, Olivia, but I thought this might be a good way for you to start your job while applying what you're learning. It's a temporary job with enough flexibility for you to keep studying and taking care of the girls." Olivia hesitated, reading through the terms of the contract. The offer was generous, but she still felt unsure. Working directly with Logan could be difficult, given the emotional bond they were building. "Logan, I'm not sure I'm the right person for this. I don't have any knowledge." "You have more than you think. You're learning quickly and have already shown you can handle challenges, and I'm not giving this as a favor. I truly believe in your potential." Logan's words felt sincere and Olivia could feel the weight of his encouragement. She knew taking this job would be a big step, but she also feared she might not live up to standards. After a few seconds of silence, Olivia finally took a deep breath and smiled slightly. "All right, I'll do it." Logan smiled, clearly pleased. "You won't regret it. We'll take things slow and over time you'll see just how good you are." The next morning, Olivia was introduced to Logan's team. Despite her nervousness, she quickly realized that he had chosen patient and understanding individuals to lead her. The job needed organization, attention to detail and the ability to manage deadlines. But Olivia faced each task with determination. The twins also seemed happy and more settled into their new routine. They spent afternoons playing in the yard or drawing in the kitchen, filling the house once quiet with the sound of childish laughter and energy. Logan often joined them when he could, deepening his bond with the girls. One evening, while Olivia was reading reports in the office, Logan walked in with 2 cups of tea. He set one beside her and sat on the nearby couch. "You're doing really well," he observed. Watching her, Olivia smiled, her cheeks warming slightly. "I still have a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying the task. That's what counts. Growth comes through effort, and you're showing admirable strength." She looked away for a moment, trying to manage the wave of emotions his words stirred. "Thank you for believing in me, Logan, truly." He simply smiled in answer, and the silence that followed felt comfortable, almost intimate. Over the following weeks, the bond between Olivia and Logan deepened. Small gestures like lingering glances or brief touches hinted at feelings they were both hesitant to recognize, but there was no denying that something was changing. One afternoon, during a team meeting, Olivia presented an idea to streamline the details of a project, surprising everyone in the room. Logan, clearly proud, didn't hide his smile as he praised her effort. "Excellent idea, Olivia. We'll apply this right away." She thanked him, feeling confident and satisfied for the first time in years. At the end of the day, as the two walked to the parking lot, Logan stopped and looked her in the eye. "Olivia, do you know how much you've grown since you got here?" She shook her head, smiling softly. "I still feel like I have so much to prove." "You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're already amazing, just as you are." Olivia's heart raced, and for a moment the world around them seemed to fade. Logan stepped closer, as though he wanted to say more, but the sound of the twins running toward them stopped him. "Mommy, look what we made!" Harper and Hazel yelled, holding up colorful drawings. Olivia laughed and knelt down to hug them. Logan watched the scene with a smile, feeling a deep sense of happiness just being with them. Later that night, as she tucked the girls into bed, Olivia reflected on how much her life had changed over the past few months. Logan's support, the affection he showed the twins, and the way he pushed her to move forward meant more to her than she could put into words. As she lay down, she felt a mix of gratitude and anxiety. She knew she was falling for Logan, but a part of her still feared opening her heart again. Logan, on the other hand, found himself thinking about Olivia more and more. She was strong, resilient, and dedicated, qualities he deeply respected despite their complicated pasts. He felt there was something special between them, something worth exploring. In the weeks to come, these feelings would only grow harder to avoid. The nights in Logan's mansion grew increasingly quiet. After long days of work and play with Harper and Hazel, Olivia often found herself lost in deep thought, sitting on the edge of her bed with the lights dimmed. She thought about how much her life had changed. Yet, even surrounded by Logan's comfort and support, a shadow of the past still hung over her. That night Logan couldn't sleep either. He sat in the living room staring at the flickering fire in the fireplace, his thoughts revolving around Olivia. Something about the way she withdrew at times worried him. He knew they needed to have an honest talk about what they were both feeling to move forward. The next morning, as Harper and Hazel played in the garden, Logan took the chance to approach Olivia. She was in the kitchen sorting the groceries that had just arrived. Logan entered softly, observing her for a moment before speaking. "Olivia, can we talk?" She paused, feeling from his tone that this wasn't an ordinary conversation. "Of course, what is it?" Logan gestured for her to follow him to the living room. They sat down and he began. "There's something I've wanted to say for a while, but I wasn't sure how." Olivia leaned forward slightly, her heart starting to race. "What is it?" "I truly admire your strength and resilience, but I can see that you're still carrying a lot of guilt. I think it's time for you to let it go." She looked away, his words hitting a sensitive chord. "Logan, I know I've made a lot of mistakes in the past. I made choices that brought me here, and sometimes I feel like I don't deserve the life you're giving me." Logan shook his head. "No one is perfect, Olivia. We all make mistakes, but you've been doing everything you can to overcome your obstacles. You deserve this and so much more." His words felt like a soothing balm on scars she had hidden for so long. Olivia took a deep breath, understanding it was time to confront her insecurities. "Logan, I've never apologized for how I treated you when we were kids. I was selfish and immature and I didn't see the worth of the people around me. I hurt you and I'm sorry for that. Logan was silent for a moment, taking in her words. Finally, he said, Olivia, the past doesn't matter anymore. We've both changed and what counts now is what we're building together. I forgive you and I hope you can forgive yourself. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes, but this time they were from sadness. It felt as if a huge weight was being lifted from her shoulders. She looked at Logan, who met her eyes with calm understanding. Thank you, Logan, for everything. You don't need to thank me. I'm here because I want to be. That moment marked the start of a new chapter for them. The stress from the past began to fade and they both felt they could finally open up to each other fully. In the days that followed, Olivia noticed a lightness in her heart she hadn't felt in years. She threw herself into her work and studies with renewed enthusiasm, while Logan continued to back her every step of the way. One evening, after putting the twins to bed, Olivia found Logan in the yard sitting in one of the rocking chairs. The soft moonlight lit his face and he seemed lost in thought. Are you okay? Olivia asked, sitting beside him. Logan smiled. Yeah, I was just thinking about how much has changed. I remember when I saw you that night on the sidewalk, I never thought we'd end up here. Neither did I, Olivia admitted, but I'm glad it happened me too. The silence between them was comfortable, as though words weren't required. Logan looked at Olivia, the gentle glow of the moon reflected in her eyes. He knew he was falling for her, but he didn't want to rush anything. Olivia, do you believe in second chances? He asked, breaking the quiet. She smiled, considering his question. I think I'm starting to. Logan nodded, encouraged by her answer. He knew they were going towards something special, something both of them needed, but only time could solidify it. The next morning, Logan decided to plan a surprise for Olivia and the twins. He planned a small trip to a nearby farm where they could spend the day outdoors, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Harper and Hazel were ecstatic when they heard the idea, and Olivia, though surprised, was grateful for the chance to spend meaningful time with her girls and Logan. The day was filled with fun and unforgettable moments. The girls fed the farm animals, ran through the fields, and enjoyed homemade ice cream. Olivia, meanwhile, felt more connected to Logan than ever before. He seemed fully at ease, interacting with the twins as if he had always been part of their family. At the end of the day, as they drove home, Harper and Hazel were fast asleep in the back seat, tired but happy. Olivia watched Logan as he drove quietly, a slight smile on his face. Thank you for today, she said softly. There's no need to thank me. It was a wonderful day for all of us. Yes, it was, and it meant so much to me to see the girls so happy. This is just the beginning, Olivia. There are many more times like this ahead of us. She smiled, warmed by his words. For the first time in years, she believed the future could be bright. When they arrived at the house, Logan carried the twins to their room, making sure they were comfortable before turning off the lights. Olivia stood nearby, moved by the care and attention he showed. That night, as she lay in bed, Olivia felt ready to finally let go of the past. Logan was right. Second chances did exist, and she wouldn't waste the one she had been given. Mornings at Logan's mansion were now filled with life. Harper and Hazel ran through the house laughing and filling the room with contagious joy. Logan, who had once lived a quiet life focused solely on work, found himself increasingly involved in the twins' routines and, more importantly, in Olivia's growth. One morning Olivia was getting ready to leave. Logan had invited her to accompany him to an important meeting, a chance to observe how he handled negotiations and led his team. Though excited, she was also nervous. She didn't want to make any mistakes or feel out of place. Are you ready? Logan asked, waiting for her by the door, more or less. I hope I don't mess up. You'll do great, Olivia. Trust yourself. When they arrived at the company building, Olivia was impressed by its grandeur. Logan led her to the meeting room where several executives were already gathered. He introduced her as a promising collaborator, which made her feel both proud and slightly self-conscious. During the meeting, Olivia listened carefully, absorbing every detail. Logan encouraged her to share some of her ideas and, to her surprise, her suggestions were well received. You have a very clear view. One of the executives commented, Thank you, I'm still learning, but I'm glad I could help. Olivia responded with a modest smile. Logan watched the interaction with satisfaction. He had always known Olivia was capable, but seeing others recognize her abilities was even more rewarding. After the meeting, Logan took her to a nearby cafe. They sat at an outdoor table and Olivia, now relaxed, ordered a cappuccino. "You are amazing today," Logan said, taking a sip of his coffee. "I was so nervous," she admitted, "but it was exciting to be part of it. This is just the beginning. You're building something solid, Olivia." She looked at him, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "None of this would be possible without you, Logan. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. All I did was show you the way. The credit is all yours." Their moment was broken by a call from the housekeeper, letting Olivia know that Harper and Hazel were asking for her. Logan smiled. "Looks like your little ones miss you. They're attached." "They can't stay away for long," Olivia said with a laugh. When they returned home, the twins ran to their mother, hugging her tightly. Logan watched the scene, feeling an ever-deepening connection with the girls. He loved their boundless energy and how their laughter could brighten any space. Later that afternoon, Logan decided to plan a small picnic in the garden. Harper and Hazel were thrilled, helping to pack a basket with sandwiches, fruit, and juice. Olivia sat on a blanket spread out on the lawn watching the girls run around with Logan. "You're getting more and more comfortable with them," Olivia said as Logan sat down beside her. "They're incredible kids. It's impossible not to grow connected. Thank you for being so good to them, Logan. They feel safe and happy here, and that's all I've ever wanted." Logan smiled. "They part of you, Olivia, and for me that's enough." His words touched Olivia deeply and she felt her heart race. She knew her feelings for Logan went beyond gratitude, but the fear of fully opening her heart still held her back. As night fell, Harper and Hazel finally grew tired and fell asleep in their mother's arms. Logan helped Olivia take them to their room, and together they carefully tucked the girls in. As they stepped out into the hallway, Olivia stopped, looking at Logan. "You've changed our lives. You know that you've changed mine too, OL." The intensity in Logan's gaze made her feel vulnerable, yet safe. At the same time, she knew she could no longer ignore what she was feeling. Later that evening, while Olivia was in the kitchen preparing a cup of tea, Logan walked in. He stood silently for a moment watching her before stepping closer. "Olivia, there's something I need to say." She turned to face him, her heart beating faster. "What is it, Logan?" Hesitated briefly but decided to be honest. "Since you came here, my life has completely changed. You and the girls have brought something into my world that I didn't even realize was missing. I care about you, Olivia, far more than I can put into words." His words washed over Olivia like a wave, catching her off guard. For a moment she didn't know how to react, but then she smiled, her eyes glistening. "Logan, I care about you too, but all of this, it's still so new to me. I need time." Logan nodded, respecting her honesty. "I understand, Stan. I'm not asking you to rush, I just wanted you to know how I feel." Their moment was broken by a faint noise from upstairs. Harper had woken up and was calling for her mother. Olivia smiled and went to tend to her, leaving Logan alone in the kitchen. He sighed looking at the abandoned teacup on the counter. Winning Olivia's complete trust would take time, but he was willing to wait. What he felt for her and the girls was worth every moment of patience. In the days that followed, the relationship between Logan and Olivia continued to grow, marked by small yet meaningful moments. With each passing day, Olivia felt herself opening up to him more, while Logan remained patient, giving her the space she needed to heal and trust. There was still a long journey ahead, but both were ready to face whatever came their way together. The sky over New York was covered in thick clouds, marking an impending storm. Olivia was in Logan's office reviewing the reports he had asked her to work on. She felt more confident in her abilities now, but she still approached each task with the seriousness of someone who understood how much this job meant for her new life. Logan walked into the room holding 2 cups of coffee. He put one beside Olivia and sat across from her, observing her in silence for a moment before speaking. "You're doing really well. You know that." Olivia looked up shocked by his casual tone. "I'm trying, but I still feel like there's room for improvement. You're hard on yourself and that's a good trait, but I want you to know I'm proud of everything you're accomplishing." Her cheeks flushed slightly and she turned her eyes back to the computer screen. Logan's compliment felt like more than just professional praise. There was a kindness in his voice that she couldn't ignore. Time seemed to pass quickly as their bond strengthened. Naturally, Logan always found ways to show he cared, whether through small gestures or words that made Olivia feel special on her end. She noticed herself gradually lowering the protective walls she had built, though she still kept a subtle guard up. One night, after the twins had gone to bed, Logan suggested Olivia join him on the mansion's terrace. She hesitated, but let her curiosity lead her. When they arrived, Olivia was struck by the view. The city lights shimmered like stars, and the cool night air carried a calmness that contrasted with New York's usual bustling p. Logan stood beside her quietly, admiring the way her eyes reflected the city's glow. "I used to come up here when I needed to think," he finally said. "But lately I don't feel that need anymore. I think it's because I found something that brings me more peace." Olivia turned to him, sensing there was more behind his words. "What brings you that peace, Logan?" "You," he said without hesitation. His words took her by surprise, and for a moment she was speechless. Logan took a step closer, lessening the distance between them. "From the moment I saw you that night, something inside me changed, and as we've spent more time together, I've realized that what I feel for you is unlike anything I've ever experienced." Olivia's heart raced. She knew her feelings for Logan were growing, but hearing his statement out loud made everything feel more real. "Logan, this is all so new for me. I'm still trying to find my footing to be strong for myself and the girls. I'm not asking you to rush, Olivia. I just want you to know how I feel." She took a deep breath, looking into his eyes. There was a sincerity there that she couldn't ignore, and for the first time in years, she felt like it might be safe to open her heart again. "I feel something for you too, Logan, but I need time. I need to be sure I'm ready to move forward." Logan nodded, respecting her uncertainty. "I'd wait as long as it takes." Their moment was interrupted by the distant rumble of thunder, marking an approaching storm. Olivia looked toward the horizon, feeling the cool breeze on her face. "We should head inside before it starts raining," she recommended. Logan agreed, but the light in his eyes made it clear that this talk had changed something between them. In the days that followed, the atmosphere between Olivia and Logan got more emotionally charged. There was a subtle tension in their interactions, as if both were trying to find a balance between the personal and professional. One evening, Logan decided to surprise Olivia with a special dinner. He asked the housekeeper to look after the twins and personally prepared a meal for the two of them. When Olivia came downstairs and saw the elegantly set table, she was speechless. "You did all this?" she asked in disbelief. "I wanted to do something special for you," he answered with a smile. During dinner they talked about everything: work, childhood memories, dreams for the future. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and they felt increasingly comfortable in each other's presence. "I never imagined I'd be here with this chance to start over," Olivia said, reflecting. "And if it weren't for you, Logan, I don't know where we'd be now. You'd be somewhere fighting, like you always have. I just had the honor of helping, but it was more than that. You believed in me when no one else did. That makes all the difference." Logan reached across the table and took her hand. "I'll always believe in you, Olivia, always." His touch was warm and reassuring, and Olivia felt the walls she had built over the years begin to crumble. She knew she still had her fears, but she also knew Logan was unlike anyone she had ever met. When dinner ended, Logan walked her to her bedroom door. For a moment they stood in silence, just looking at each other. "Good night, Logan," Olivia said softly with a gentle smile. "Good night, Olivia." As she closed the door, she leaned against it, feeling her heart race. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine a world where she wasn't alone. Logan, meanwhile, walked down the stairs with a smile on his face. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was willing to take every step needed to win Olivia's heart totally. That night, as the rain finally began to fall, they both fell asleep with a new sense of hope, as if the future was starting to reveal itself. Olivia and Logan's daily lives began to flow with a surprising ease that caught them both off edge. The twins were growing increasingly attached to Logan, and he in turn showed genuine affection for them. Yet Olivia still had times of doubt, not about her feelings, but about whether she was ready to fully trust someone again. One afternoon, while Olivia was working on reports in the office, her phone buzzed on the desk. It was a message from an unknown number. When she opened it, She saw a photo of Logan talking to an elegant woman at a restaurant. The caption read, "Do you really know who he is?" Olivia's heart raced, while she knew Logan had a social life and professional contacts. The message unsettled her. The doubt she had tried to push away came rushing back. Who was that woman, and why would someone send her a message like that? Logan arrived home later that day, seemingly at ease. He found Olivia in the living room with the twins playing nearby. He immediately noticed something was wrong. "Are you okay?" he asked, sitting beside her. Olivia hesitated for a moment before showing him the message. "I got this today." Logan frowned as he looked at the picture. That was a business meeting. "She's a consultant we hiring for a project." Olivia wanted to believe him, but the message had cast a shadow over her trust. "Why would someone send this to me, Logan? It feels like they're trying to warn me about something I don't know, but I can find out. Olivia, you have to trust me. I would never do anything to hurt you." His voice was steady and his tone carried genuine sincerity. Olivia looked into his eyes and saw something she couldn't ignore, the openness of someone with nothing to hide. "I want to trust you, Logan, but this caught me off guard. My whole life has been filled with disappointments and it's hard to ignore that fear." Logan gently held her hands, giving them a reassuring squeeze. "I understand, Olivia. I won't push you. I just want you to know that I'm here to face anything by your side." In the days that followed, Logan investigated the source of the message and found it had been sent by a disgruntled former employee he had let go months ago. He showed Olivia the evidence, making it clear there was nothing to fear. Olivia felt a mix of happiness and guilt. She knew she was still learning to trust, but she also realized that Logan was willing to do whatever it took to ensure her immortal security. One night, after putting the twins to bed, Olivia went to Logan's study. He was focused on some papers, but looked up as she entered. "Can we talk?" she asked, closing the door behind her. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Olivia sat in the chair across from his desk and took a deep breath. "I want to apologize for doubting you. I know the message shook me, but that doesn't explain my lack of trust. You've always been honest with me and I need to be fair to you." Logan gave her a soft smile. "You don't need to apologize, Olivia. I know how hard it is for you to let your guard down. I'm here to help, not to judge." His words struck a chord and Olivia felt tears well up in her eyes. "You're so different from anything I've ever known, Logan. It scares me, but it also makes me want to believe I can be happy again. Let's play a little game for those who only read the comments. Type Coca-Cola in the comments. Only those who make it this far will understand." Band now back to the story. Logan stood and walked over to her, kneeling by her side. He gently wiped away a tear that had fallen down her face. "You can be happy, Olivia, and you don't have to do it alone." That night something shifted between them. The walls Olivia had kept up for so long finally began to fall. The days that followed were filled with increasingly meaningful times of closeness. Logan continued to show patience and care, while Olivia slowly allowed herself to trust him completely. One afternoon, as they walked through the park with Harper and Hazel, Logan watched Olivia playing with the girls. In that moment he felt an unshakable certainty. This was the life he wanted. He wanted to be with her and the kids forever. When they came home, Logan asked the housekeeper to watch girls for a few hours. He took Olivia to the mansion's terrace, the same spot where they had shared a pivotal conversation months earlier. "Olivia, there's something I want to say." She looked at him, her heart racing. "What is it?" Logan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box, opening it to show a delicate ring. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you and the girls. You've brought light and joy into my life in a way I never thought possible. Olivia, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as she covered her mouth in shock. "Logan, yes, I will." Logan smiled as he slipped the ring onto her finger before pulling her into a tight hug. The storm that had defined the start of their journey had finally passed, and they were ready to begin a new chapter together. As the twins slept peacefully in the next room, Olivia and Logan talked about their future plans. A simple wedding full of love and a life built on the trust and respect they had worked so hard to achieve. That night was only the beginning of a journey filled with happy moments and obstacles they would face together as a true family. Preparations for Olivia and Logan's wedding started simply but with great meaning for both of them. Olivia wanted an intimate ceremony, surrounded only by those who were part of her new life. Harper and Hazel were thrilled at the idea of being flower girls, and Logan involved them in every detail. "I'm choosing flowers to picking out dresses." Despite the joy that filled every moment, Olivia knew she still had to confront one last ghost from her past. While she had accepted that Jake, the twins' biological father, would never take responsibility, she felt she needed to face him one final time. "Logan, I need to talk to Jake again," Olivia said one evening while they were on the terrace. Logan frowned, worried. "Do you think that's really necessary?" "Yes, not for him but for me. I need to close this chapter once and for all." Logan took her hand, his eyes full of understanding. "If that's what you need, I'll be by your side." The next day, Lon managed to find Jake's home. Olivia chose to meet him alone, but she felt reassured, knowing Logan was just a phone call away. When she arrived, she found Jake standing outside a small bar, clearly worn down by time and the choices he had made in life. "Olivia," he said, surprised to see her. "Yes, it's me, we need to talk." Jake sighed and gestured for her to follow him to a table in the corner. He looked nervous, as though hoping this wouldn't take long. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice tired. "I'm here to tell you I don't expect anything from you anymore. You made your choice years ago, but the girls deserve to know that I did everything I could to give them the best, and now I'm going on." Jake sat in silence, looking at the empty glass in front of him. "I know I failed Olivia, but I don't know how to be a parent. I never did. That doesn't matter anymore. They have someone who loves them as if they were his own. Logan is everything you never were and never will be." Jake didn't reply, but the look in his eyes showed he understood the weight of her words. Olivia stood up, feeling she had finally said everything she needed to. As she left the bar, she felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in years. When she got home, she found Logan in the yard with the twins, helping them set up a play tent. "How did it go?" he asked as she approached. "It went the way it needed to. Now I'm truly ready to move on." Logan smiled and pulled her into a hug. "I'm proud of you." In the days that followed, Olivia focused completely on wedding preparations and her new life with Logan and the girls. She finally felt she had found a home, not just in a physical sense, but in the love she shared with Logan and the laughter of Harper and Hazel. On the morning of the wedding, Olivia was worried but radiant. Wearing an elegant white dress, she looked at herself in the mirror, thinking about how much her life had changed. The twins, dressed like little princesses, burst into the room holding flower baskets. "You look beautiful, Mommy," Harper said, her eyes shining. "Thank you, my darlings. You both look beautiful too." With her heart full of feeling, Olivia walked down the aisle where Logan was waiting. Their eyes met, and in that moment all her doubts vanished. The wedding was simple but filled with love and purpose. Every word in their vows reaffirmed the bond they had made, not just as a couple but as a united family. When the ceremony finished, Harper and Hazel ran into Olivia and Logan's arms, squealing with joy. The future that once seemed uncertain was now a promise of happiness and unity. After the wedding, Logan's mansion felt even more alive. Harper and Hazel quickly adapted to the idea of having a full family, and Olivia felt she had finally found her place in the world. Their days were filled with fun and tender moments as she and Logan built their new routine together on her first morning as a married couple. Olivia woke to the sound of birds outside the yard. She turned to find Logan beside her, watching her with a peaceful smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Bennett." She smiled, still adjusting to her new last name. "Good morning, ready to start our new life?" More than ready, the first months of their marriage were filled with thanks and renewal. Logan supported Olivia in balancing her work and studies, while continuing to be a committed father figure to Harper and Hazel. He made it a point to be present for every important moment in the girls' lives, from small school achievements to bedtime stories. One afternoon, while organizing some paperwork in the office, Olivia started feeling lightheaded. Assuming it was just fatigue, she chose to rest. However, the symptoms continued over the following days. Logan noticed her exhaustion and ordered she see a doctor. "It's just tiredness, Logan, I'm fine," she said, trying to comfort him. "It might be, but it won't hurt to check. I want to make sure you're taking care of yourself." Reluctantly, Olivia agreed and made an appointment. She felt a bit anxious, but didn't expect any big news. However, after the routine exams, the doctor gave news that would once again change their lives. "Congratulations, Mrs. Bennet, you're pregnant." Olivia sat in silence for a moment, processing what she had just heard. Pregnant. The thought of having the child with Logan filled her with both joy and surprise. When she came home, she found Logan in the living room playing with Harper and Hazel. His smile reassured her that this was the right moment to share the news. "Logan, can we talk for a moment?" He noticed the severity in her tone and asked the girls to go play in their room. Once they were alone, Logan stepped closer, curious. "What is it, Olivia?" She took a deep breath, trying to hold back her feelings. "Logan, I went to the doctor today and I found out I'm pregnant." For a moment, Logan was silent, processing her words. Then a huge smile lit up his face. "You're pregnant," she nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes, we're going to have a baby." Logan pulled her into a tight embrace, his heart filled with joy. "This is amazing, Olivia. I don't even know what to say." The following weeks were filled with joy as they began preparing for the new addition to their family. Harper and Hazel were thrilled at the news that they would have a baby brother or sister, and quickly helped Olivia pick out clothes and decorate the nursery. One quiet evening, as they watched the twins sleeping, Logan and Olivia thought on everything they had overcome to reach this moment. "It feels like we've been through so much in such a short time," Olivia said, gently, touching her growing belly, "and every challenge brought us to this. I'm better than I ever thought I could be." Olivia smiled, grateful to have Logan by her side. Despite all the hardships they had faced, they knew they were now making a life filled with love and hope. The pregnancy brought the family even closer together. Logan was attentive, always ensuring Olivia was comfortable, while Harper and Hazel could hardly wait for their little brother to come. Every detail of the planning was filled with care and joy. However, like any journey, there were times of concern. During a routine checkup, the doctor advised Olivia to get extra rest due to a slight risk of complications. When Logan heard this, he became even more attentive, taking on many daily chores to ensure Olivia could relax. "I don't want you to worry about anything except taking care of yourself and the baby," he said firmly but kindly. Olivia chuckled softly. "You're giving me too much, Logan. You deserve all the care in the world, Olivia." The months flew by and before they knew it, the due date was near. On a calm evening, as a gentle breeze moved the curtains, Olivia went into labor. Logan stayed calm, though his emotions were evident, and quickly took her to the hospital. Hours later, the sound of a baby's cry filled the delivery room, bringing indescribable joy to everyone's hearts. It was a boy, healthy and strong. Logan held the baby in his arms, filled with emotion, while Olivia looked at them both with tears of happiness. "Welcome to the family, my son Logan," said his voice thick with emotion. Harper and Hazel, who had been waiting excitedly in the hallway, were brought in to meet their brother. They were thrilled, promising to always care for and protect him. Life at Logan's mansion felt perfect. What once seemed like an unlikely family was now a bright example of love, unity, and resilience. Each challenge had made them stronger and the future seemed brighter than ever. As Logan held the baby in his arms and the twins played nearby, Olivia felt she had finally found what she had always longed for, a home filled with love and people who would do anything for one another. What did you think of Logan and Olivia's story? Share your ideas in the comments below. Rate this story on a range from 0 to 10. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the reminder bell to follow all our stories and check out more heartwarming tales by clicking on the end screen.